Sheni pelted through the cobbled streets of Victorium as the city's grand clock tower ticked down to midnight. Pale glow orbs burned through the mist like eerie moons. The stone walls were rain-slick and coated in moss. Dark towers and iron gates loomed at every turn. Things hadn't gone exactly to plan. It was supposed to be an easy job. That's how it had been sold to them, at any rate. Victorium was a small city moon of cold slate, brass steam engines, and pea soup fogs. A guard captain down by the port by the name of Pratchett had a reputation for confiscating any cargo that caught his eye, and one such confiscated item just happened to be the brooch of a long-dead Luethian aristocrat, a trinket that would fetch a pretty nice price on the black market. Rhaego had liberated it from a spacer who had presumably stolen it off someone else, someone who might pay good money to have it back. The way Sheni saw it, they were doing the galaxy a service by taking it out of corrupt hands. And how much more stolen could the brooch get anyway? Becky had slithered in through an open window on the second story and unlocked the guardhouse's side entrance from inside. From there, it had been a quick sneak down to the hold in the cellar where the brooch was stashed. They'd snatched the velvety box that contained it off the shelf without setting off any alarms. So far, so good. But then, Sheni had got cocky and thrown open the wrong door, and they'd found themselves face to face not with a deserted cobblestone alleyway as planned, but a whole garrison of rather confused guards. And it turned out they weren't stealing from any old backwater thugs after all. Victorium was under ministerial jurisdiction, which meant it was patrolled by well-armed executor squads, ones that, corrupt or not, took a rather dim view of thieves breaking into their guardhouses in the dead of night. So now, thanks to that teeny tiny oversight, they were on the run with the full weight of the ministerium on their asses. Well, maybe not the full weight. A small dumbbell's worth of ministerium, emphasis on the dumb, but that was still more than enough officers to toss his crew down some dingy black sight hole until they were too old and tired to try and climb back out. Sheni scampered through a narrow crack separating one time-worn boarding house from another, his hands slapping against the cold, moist brickwork, his fingers scratching at the crumbling grey mortar. The skin on the back of his neck was stretched taut with goosebumps, and sweat glued his shirt to his back. He could hear the thunderous boots of angry ministry officers stomping down the streets behind him. He emerged into a barren backyard filled with old crates and empty tin tubs and barged his way through a rusty cast-iron gate adorned with a crown of 6-inch spikes. A 7-foot reptilian barreled into him from the poorly lit through lane running perpendicular to the yard. Becky yanked him out of the puddles and shoved him in the direction of their ship. "Any sign of Iskar?" he asked, rubbing his bruised ribs. "Not since we left the guardhouse." Becky sniffed at the cool, misty air. "Maybe the officers got him." "Don't be so heartless, Becky. We can't just leave him behind." "Hey, he ain't crew. If he gets caught, he's on his own." Victorium wasn't like Capamentis. Only those with dark intentions and careers of ill repute prowled the streets at night. Nightgown-clad citizens leaned out from second and third-story windows at the commotion. Many quickly slammed their shutters when they saw Sheni and Becky coming. A bell began to chime a few streets away, alerting more guards to their presence. Sheni felt his lungs start to burn. "How much further?" he gasped. "Far enough that I don't fancy your chances," Becky snarled irritably. "Didn't I tell you to get in shape in case we have to run?" "Yeah," he spluttered. "And I told you that if we have to run, something's gone terribly wrong." A plasma slug screeched down the street and exploded against the century-old stone wall beside them in a bloom of amber. "And when has anything gone terribly right for us?" Becky rasped. As they passed under the gated archway, a shadowy figure hopped down from the slate roof of a nearby shed. Becky raised the claws of her right hand, ready to slash downward and spill the assailant's intestines into the overflowing gutter, then balled her hand into a fist instead. It was only Iskar Baraba, the third member of their haphazard heist. A regular at the Corpse and Casket space station, he'd been the one to approach Sheni and Becky with the intel on Pratchett and the confiscated jewelry. His hood fell back to reveal lime-green eyes that stood out against the tufts of blue feathers sprouting from his temples and running like a mohawk down the center of his head. "The guards are closing in," he said, holding out his hand as he jogged alongside them. "Give me the brooch."